Okay, guys, today is going to be something a little different, something a little special. Today is kind of a special day, and it brought up some memories of something that I remember seeing way back when on Facebook. So today I'm going to talk about it. And then we're going to get to why today is special. But first, I want to talk about a comic book that most people probably do not know exists. And it's able to be seen on Webtoons. And I had nothing to do with this comic. This comic is named Kid Intense, and it was created by Vincent Keith Morris Jr. So what I want to do is just tell the story of my experience with Kid Intense, because it's something that it just, I don't know what to say. It affected me. It affected me in a way that I didn't think would affect me for what it is. But basically, as you can see here, we have a superhero named Kid Intense, that, in all honesty, kind of looks like it was created by a kid. And whenever I would go on Facebook, now mind you, this was about 4 years ago. I have not been on Facebook for a very long time. But back then, you get on Facebook. I belonged to a ton of the comic book groups and stuff, for like creating comic books or indie creators and stuff like that. And whenever I was scrolling through, I swear, the only thing I would see is Kid Intense. Like one day it just popped up, and then it was just in your face. Like it was there. You couldn't get away from it. Ads all over the place. If you went into one of these groups, you're seeing posts for Kid Intense, okay? And it went like that for a couple of days. And I remember seeing it, but I just, I'm just like, all right, good luck, buddy, Uh, that's really all. I didn't look into it, or anything. I just saw something where I'm like, okay, there's a kid here pushing his comic book character, right? The art isn't the best or anything like that. It's what it is. I didn't put much into it, but then, as always seems to happen, especially anywhere on the internet or on Facebook. And I've talked about this before in other videos that I've made. Vincent Keith Morris Jr. started getting attacked. Okay, he started getting attacked because of the amount of posts that we were seeing in these groups, and he started getting attacked because he wasn't producing the best artwork. That's usually how that goes. I mean, it seems that a lot of these comic creators jump out of their way to attack another comic creator, no matter what. And Vincent Keith Morris Jr. was doing certain things that would bring some attention that you're like, okay, dude, you can't kind of do this type of thing. So, like, for instance, there was like a cover to one of the Kid Intense comics where it was Kid Intense versus Juggernaut. And there were actually a lot of Kid Intense versus some Marvel character. And of course, you're like, well, these are Marvel characters. He doesn't have rights to these characters or anything like that. But again, I don't think it was a thing that, you could take too seriously. Now, he was selling these comics, but again, he's selling these comics for $1, and is what it was. But again, all these people are coming out of the woodwork and just like attacking him. And as it goes with anybody who ends up attacking somebody on Facebook, then you have the people who come in and say, "Hey, you can't attack that guy," and then they fight back for to those attackers. Okay, so now like a war was going on that Vincent Keith Morris Jr. wasn't even a part of. Okay, you had the people who were just like, "Hey, stop spamming our groups, and we don't want to see this. And Kid Intent sucks, and your artwork's horrible, whatever the deal was." And then you had other people coming in saying, "Hey, don't knock this guy. This guy's producing comics. He's doing what he loves. You know, he obviously loved this character, Kid Intense. Okay, uh, it was everywhere. You could see it everywhere, and but again, at first, like, it's in your face, it's being pushed hard and everything. I believe he was paying for ads. In order, these ads were popping up everywhere, and you were seeing this in these comics groups. And the fact that some people got upset about it and started saying things. You know how Facebook is. The algorithm is, if if there's a controversy or if there's fighting to go on, if there's dislikes and anything that's hate or whatever, Facebook is going to promote the hell out of it. Okay, that's just how Facebook is. So with that, Kid Intense got promoted even more. Now even more people knew about it, right? So it's a fight, it's a fight, it's a fight. Well, anyway, I mean, it continued on. Now, I was on the side of supporting Vincent Keith Morris Jr. Okay, again, it's not like I was a big fan of Kid Intense or anything like that, but I supported the fact that this guy was out there doing what he loved to do. I love making comics. This guy loves making comics. Let him make comics. What's the harm? What's the big deal? I got to be honest with you. Like, yeah, it was slightly annoying that you're seeing all of these ads or, all of these posts, but it worked because you knew who Kid Intense was. You knew who Vincent Keith Morris Jr. was. It was, you know, he was being talked about. So, you know how they say, there's no such thing as bad press because even if like people don't like you or whatever, they're talking about you and they're getting their name out there. So that's exactly what happened. So, Kid Intense kind of blew up, right? And then, just as suddenly as he came around, you just didn't see the posts anymore. It was weird, and you noticed it because of how many posts you would see a day if you got on Facebook. It was like the first thing I would see if I logged on, because I'm like joining up with friends to do a podcast or something like that. The first thing I would usually see is Kid Intense, but then suddenly I'm not seeing it. Okay. And I got to be honest, it probably took a couple of days before I really noticed that I wasn't seeing it. I'm just like, hey, what happened to Kid Intense? Why am I not seeing more pictures from this guy? Or, more covers to a new book that he did? Because honestly, this guy was like doing an issue a day of Kid Intense, okay? And these issues would have like 20 pages to them, okay? It wasn't something that was short. It wasn't like a 3 or 4 page deal or anything like that. This dude was making content. Now, of course, with the art style that he was using and everything, he could do that. You could tell that, like, he wasn't doing any kind of pencil sketching first and then inking or anything. He's just going to the paper and he's just drawing. And in all reality, I also believe he was just using Microsoft Paint to color the pictures. Like he would scan them in or whatever and then do that. It didn't matter because all of it just went together. It's what made it work the best. Okay, the writing, you could see it. It was the most cliche. That Kid Intense was literally just Superman, and it didn't matter. Okay, other people had brought that up, but like no one, no one cared after a certain point because we're just like, dude, you do you. You make Kid Intense. We're starting to get into it. Okay. And then, like I said, suddenly you're not seeing it anymore. All right. So I think after a couple of days of not seeing this, I went into one of the groups that I knew that I would see his post most regularly. And that's when I saw a post from someone who said that they had gotten in contact with his sister and discovered that on August 3rd of 2020, Vincent Keith Morris Jr. had passed away. Okay. Apparently, this person was 42 years old. He was 5 days from his birthday, which would be August 8th. He had died suddenly in his sleep. And I can't tell you, like, it just hit me. I was just like, you've got to be shitting me. What is this? Like, I didn't know this guy. I didn't talk to him. All I did was see the pictures that he was creating and putting on Facebook. And, this was a case of the star that burns the brightest, burns out the quickest, because that's exactly what happened. Like, we got like a month or two of Vincent Keith Morris Jr., and then suddenly, poof, he was gone, just like that. This man was putting out content like crazy, and then poof, done. It was over. And I got to tell you, like, it hit me. I was just like, holy shit, this cannot be for real. Over the past couple of years, I have experienced a shit ton of loss. And again, I didn't know this person, but it was kind of the loss of like Kid Intense. I didn't know Vincent. I knew Kid Intense. Okay, I had read whatever pages he was putting in these groups and everything. This was something, again, I mean, I was reading it. I'm laughing. I'm laughing at it because I'm like, this is it was kind of funny. I wasn't laughing at Vincent. I was actually kind of laughing with him that, this is what he did. And, in some cases it came off as a little comical or whatever, but it was like, his understanding of comics, and he had put it in there. And these were like the most pure, simple superhero stories you were ever going to get from a person. Okay. And I don't know, there was just something so awesome about that. And now we're not going to get any more. And it was a little soul crushing. It was just, unbelievable. So at the time, I was friends with several people, one of which is a person named Ryan Moore. And we used to do a podcast together called Lost in the Long Boxes, which, in all honesty, I believe you can still listen to online. You can just do a search for it through Google, and you're probably going to find it. And apparently, Ryan Moore felt the same way. He had seen Kid Intense, for months or whatever in these groups and everything. He belonged to the same groups I did. And, the death of Vincent Keith Morris Jr. hit him. And he was like, we should do something for the family. We should, you know, all get together here and we're going to make a Kid Intense tribute book. Okay. Where we'll get several artists from this group to draw 1 or 2 pages of this book. We'll do a Kickstarter, and all of the money made from that Kickstarter will go to Vincent Keith Morris Jr.'s family. Okay. And apparently, he had spoken to members of Vincent Keith Morris Jr.'s family, and they were for this. They allowed for these characters to be used and everything in order to do this kind of memorial, you know, thing, to get Kid Intense out there even more to keep him alive. And I was excited. I was like, yeah, I'm 100% for it. Again, it was like the only thing I could think of, and I wanted Kid Intense to stay around. And the group Indie Comics Creators on Facebook had changed their title to Kid Intense, or they had put a banner up for Kid Intense. It's like it's still known as Indie Comics Creators, but they put up there that it was the Vincent Keith Morris Jr. tribute page, and that we're going to keep Kid Intense alive and everything. And it was true. There was a lot of artists out there, and like the day that we all found out he died, I did the same thing. I produced a picture that I put on this Facebook group here to remember Vincent Keith Morris Jr. And so did other people. You're just as you're scrolling, that's all you're seeing. You're seeing this Kid Intense artwork done in so many different styles by so many different artists, right? And again, talking to my friend Ryan, who had written a script for this Kid Intense tribute book that we're going to make. He asked me if I wanted to do it, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm for it. Let's do this, right? I was like, I will do, like 3 pages of it, right? I'm a fast artist, so I think sometimes I could draw a little faster than other people. Whenever I do work for people, they usually say that it comes in way quicker than they ever expected or whatever. So, I started drawing this, and I did complete the pages, but then I started redrawing them because I knew that it was going to take a while before other artists were complete, and I wasn't happy with what I had done. I wanted to do better, and I knew that I could do better, and I wanted to do better for Kid Intense and for Vincent Keith Morris Jr., so I started to redraw them, okay? So in this video, I will show that the original drawings that I did, completed, colored, and everything, and then the redraws that I did, which are just in pencil. And then the reason that occurred was because problems started occurring with the book. And I don't want to go off topic here, but this is something I was going to discuss before, and this is a prime example of this. There were a lot of people in these Facebook groups who were looking for work, right? They were putting their stuff out there. They're drawing these pages, for free to post so that people can see their artwork and everything and say, hey, I'm a comic book artist and I'm looking for work. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. There were a lot of great artists in there. There were a lot of okay artists. There were a lot of subpar artists. It's just what it is. It's just a reality thing. You know, a lot of the subpar artists were getting work because they were doing the stuff for free. So a lot of the better artists weren't getting work because they would charge for their pictures. And of course, a writer wants to, you know, not have to pay for any of this stuff, And I'm not saying that's all writers or anything, but like there's a lot of writers out there who just don't have the money to invest in what they're doing. So they're going to be like, okay, so the story's most important. We're going to, go with a crappy artist or whatever, because it'll still work. People will look past the art if they read it, and see how good the story is and such and blah, blah, blah. Right? Okay, fine. But one of the things that I had already had come up with, like way previous, and I think other people did too, or other people did it before being whatever the deal was. But it was always like, why didn't all of us just get together and we could take like one of these writers' stories, right? And each of us can produce like a page or two of this book. And when you have like 10 artists doing 2 pages of a book, we can have a 20-page book done in a week. Okay? Seriously. Even if we're working full-time jobs or whatever, we can get that book done. All right. And every 2 pages, you're going to have a different artist. Okay. So it's like an artist showcase. All right. But you're getting a complete story. And then we can run a Kickstarter. And the proceeds from that can go to pay the artist that contributed artwork to the book. Okay. Um, it's not a thing that would ever come to fruition. It was like everybody kind of just dismissed that idea. Okay. But now we're, doing this thing for Kid Intense, and it's the exact same thing. We have like 10 or 15 artists. Each of them are going to do, 2 to 3 pages or something like that for this book. It's a book that should have been done in 2 weeks. Okay. Without even trying, it should have been 2 weeks that this tribute book was complete. Okay. The script was already written. I was given a script the day that I was told about this, which was just like 2 weeks after Vincent Keith Morris Jr.'s passing. So, this person had raced into this, and he got what he needed to get done and everything, and then get people around, because it's like, why wait? This is not a thing we want to do a year from now or 2 years from now. We want to do this now. We want to help a family. Okay, so I drew my pages, and as far as I know, I am the only person to have drawn pages for this. Recently, I went back, did a search in Facebook, and took a look at everything concerning Kid Intense. Went back through the posts, through these comic groups and everything, and I saw a lot of people saying that they were doing some tribute thing or whatever. Now, there was one other guy, and I did not see his name. I'm not even sure I should be saying names of people in here, but there was a person who, I don't know, he was kind of the last man standing in this group. Now, I had done my pages. I had sent them in to the writer, who was going to be heading this Kickstarter campaign and everything. So my job on that portion was done. I believe that the other guy had done his pages, and then there were like 10 or so posts asking, hey, whatever happened to this book? Is it is it still being made? What's going on? And the comments on there are invisible except for like one or two, where you're going to hear that no, the book dropped because all of the artists dropped out of the project. And it's just like, that is the saddest thing I've ever heard. That is, I'm sorry to say this, it's fucking pathetic. Okay, it really is. I mean, it's not like it takes that much time to draw a page or two. And again, it didn't matter the quality of the artwork. There was a point being made to this. What we were doing here was to try to help a family, right? We were trying to keep a comic book character alive, and in essence, keep the creator of that character alive. To keep the memory of this person alive, to keep the memory of this character, going, because, there was just, at first there's this major outpouring of love for the creator and this character, and then suddenly nobody gave a shit anymore. It was just done. They were all like, "Oh yeah, yeah, we'll draw the pages," and then that's it. They never did it. I actually don't even have people to call out on it. I don't know everyone who was involved in it. I remember talking to my friend and saying something about it, and he's just like, no one, produced the pages or anything. Now here's where it got a little weird because I have made several full comic books, right? And at this time, I was drawing my first ever published, comic, which was Witches of Westchester #1 with Alton Simpson. He had hired me to draw this book, and I had also did the first campaign for my mini comic, Night Terrors, and that was a big success on Kickstarter. So I was busy doing these projects when all of this had taken place, and I had taken time from these projects to draw the 2 pages that I had, and then later on, maybe a week or so later, to start redrawing these pages because I was not happy with what I had produced. Basically, because I was rushing. I had projects done, that I'm doing that have due dates and everything. I was literally putting together my mini comic by hand. I'm the one printing it, folding it, stapling it, doing all this stuff. And I had to send it out to, a shit ton of backers. So I didn't have the time to invest, but I had enough to invest what I did, okay? And again, you'll see the original pages and the reworked pages. And if it wasn't for the fact that I was doing these other projects that I had already committed to, then I would have drawn the entire book myself in order to have that tribute book out there and to have, the money go to Vincent's family. Okay. But I don't know. I'm just, you know, this is one of those stories that I find to be like bittersweet. Okay. Because you had something that started off, kind of bad, right? Like it started off in a way where it's like, you're getting this, this weird little comic that's using Marvel characters when it shouldn't be. You could tell that the art, is subpar or whatever because we don't know the artist. We don't know what's going on here. The stories are like cliched, very simple, pure superhero comics. And they're spamming everybody's timeline. Okay, everybody's just seeing it to the point where people started getting upset about it, right? And then you had these other people come into the rescue here, but like I said, with all of that, it pumped the notoriety of this person up, right? We're learning about this character, we're learning about the creator, and then just when everybody's like, we've reached a point where this guy is posting and everybody is just behind him. Dude, we love your work. Keep it going. You're doing great work, blah, blah, blah. We look forward to seeing this every day. And I did look forward to seeing it every day. And then it was just gone in a blink of an eye. It was just gone. And, it sucked. It sucked. And then when everybody was like, okay, yeah, we all got hit by it and everything. Let's keep the memory alive. It didn't work. Okay. Everybody came into it with good intentions. And then, we don't know what goes on in other people's lives. Maybe they had the same thing going on. I had a lot going on at this time. Again, not just with projects, but with, over the past couple of years, I've suffered like a lot of loss. Okay. A lot of family members and friends have passed away. So like all of that was going on at the same time. And so, but, it's what it is. So I can see that, life will get in the way, but I will always stand by this. You're putting out your stuff. You're doing this work. You draw a 10-page sample thing to put on Facebook or wherever to use as submissions for artwork so that people can see what you're doing. Again, 10 people, we should put out a 20-page comic in 2 weeks. Okay, each person drawing 2 pages. You got a week to draw a page. That is just, that's a massive amount of time, and it's that simple. When I look at these groups even today, and I go through these, these posts and everything. Yes, people are out there creating, yes, people are doing this and that, but when I'm looking at it and it's like, okay, you've created one book every 2 years or something like that. When I think about the amount of content that could have come out, the amount of money that everybody could have made doing a smaller, simple project, the fact that your name could have been out there more because of this, again, writers who couldn't afford to pay an artist, we could have all gotten together, done 2 pages of artwork, which already we're already doing that for free. Okay, whether as just a submission or whatever, or just something to post, we're doing it for free. So we all could have gotten together. We could have drawn this person's story, put it out there. His name's out there. Our name's out there. We could have gotten money from a Kickstarter. It would have ended up being paid work. Okay, you know this would have been something that I think could have propelled people. I've seen these other, books come out from major publishers where, you know, different creators did different pages of a book and everything. It's something that could have worked. And the sadder part on that is that it definitely could have worked for Kid Intense. And we could have had a physical book out there to remember, this creator and this character by. So it's a sad end to just a sad tale. It's unfortunate, but this video, again, I'm doing this because of the date. I was reminded of this, and I just want people to know, I guess, that he still lives on in my memory. So he's still around. The character's still around, and this is my tribute video to that character. So, guys, if you've heard of Kid Intense before, here's a nice reminder of the creator and the character. If you guys have never heard of Kid Intense before, you're able to actually go to Webtoons and see the 13 issues that this person put out over like a 2-month period before his passing. So you can go on there and see his creation, so it still lives on. As far as I know, there may be another website. If you dig into it, you might find that you could purchase physical copies of it. I know that he was selling that, but don't quote me on that because I'm not sure. But again, thank you guys for watching. If you like the video, please hit like. It'll help my channel grow. Also, I'm a comic book creator, and I am currently working on my own comic, which will be released in the next month or two. If it's something you feel you might be interested in, hit subscribe so that way you can stay up to date with any new information about that book. Again, guys, thanks for watching, and until next time.